You guys like heavy shit? You guys like heavy shit? Welcome to the Riff Crew. I'm your host, Steve Mitchell, back for another big episode here in the realm. And joining me, as always, is a fired up and excited Skull, because we're gonna talk a lot of Doom. How you doing, mate?
All right. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen in Cyberland. As you know, this is Skull, broadcasting from the past, present, and future in the Chamber of the Cosmos. Here with my good friend Steve Oz from Ozland. I'm an on-again, off-again DC bomb rock band Black Manta. I've been in the DC scene for over 35 years. I know people from all over the scene. I also worked at the Smithsonian for 20 years and have incorporated my love and passion for history with my love and passion for music. So as usual, really excited to be here. We have a special guest with us today, Tim, the singer and guitar player from Jack Harlon and the Dead Crows. It's good to have you, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to finally come on. I think it took us a while to hook this one up. So, yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, so I have to ask the obvious questions to start off with, because I think Jack Harlan's been around for about 10 years, and you guys have played like over 150 shows, but your last one was, I think, back in November last year, almost a year to the day. Like, is the psychedelic cowboy dead, or is he going to be resurrected?
Yeah, you're right. I was looking through my calendar, a couple months ago, and I did realize it's like January 15th or something is 10 years of Jack Harlan. I think that's from our first show. So like project's been going a little bit longer than that. And yeah, well, the Jack Harlan, the Cowboys, well and truly alive within my mind, if that's what you mean. We were thinking it was a bit touch and go. Maybe the band would break up in the hiatus and succumb to some of those, I don't know, symptoms of hiatus that a lot of bands do. But no, we're definitely together. And I mean, the story in terms of like the content is changing a bit. It's a bit more of Tim in there than Jack. I think just through all the years, I really want to make the lyrics count to each and every song, and I really want them to connect with my life a lot more. Like when I started the band, I was like 25 or something. I was like, oh, we'll just write about mystical cowboys and wizards, and that'll be fun. And then, I don't know, you stroll through life and do a couple of laps around the sun, and you think, oh, I got some pretty intense things I want to talk about now. So yeah, it's changed. It's different, but it's still there. Jack Harlan's
I,
still intact.
I want to say that, I mean, I know Steve for a bit here, a while, and I've been doing this for about 3 years. And, you know, I listen to all kinds of music. I've been listening to music, for decades. I'm pretty picky, and he's always dumping all so many bands on me. And I told him, I was like, because I have thousands, like 1,000 records and CDs and all this, and I was like, my criteria typically is I don't normally really listen to anything past like the year 2000 unless it's like something special or something that it really speaks to me. Now I'm still open to music after 2000, but it has to be something special. And he's always dumping that, listen to this band. I'm like, yeah, 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 listen, oh yeah. But I would have to say that Jack Harlan is one of the few bands that spoke directly to me, that really stood out, um because of the psychedelia element of it is really groovy, and that element of it really speaks to me. So I would have to say, out of all the bands that he's picked out or recommended to me, I think that you guys from the Australian scene, you guys definitely are probably my favorite so far.
Uh, Thanks, man.
Yeah,
That's nice.
right on.
Yeah, like I know I do. That's something I worried about a bit at the start because we are a bit of a mix of just randomness. It's just like I don't know. I just write whatever I've been listening to, the style of whatever I've really been digging recently, and then that sort of makes our albums go lots of different places. And I did worry. I was like, oh man, is it? The Doom head's just gonna hate that there's like one Doom song on the album, and then the Psych head's just gonna hate there's only one Psych one. But it's it's good. It seems to be well received like that. It's yeah,
No,
a
it's
bit of
great. I
nothing.
mean, I've been listening to Doom. I mean, I was around at the very beginning of the entire movement, here in Maryland with Pentagram and the Obsessed and all. I know all those guys.
Sweet.
Um, the thing is like when it started to evolve into like this funeral sludge doom, um, that, kind of emerged like in the mid to late 90s. It was cool, but it's like after a while, it's like, there's only so much of it you can take. And that's what I like about Jack Harlan is like you hear different elements of rock and roll, you hear the psychedelia, there are some doom elements, and that to me is kind of like is an old school mentality where you would hear like even on Zeppelin or Sabbath. I mean, when you hear a song like Orchid on, Master of Reality, where it's just like this guitar ditty or whatever, you're like, what the fuck is that? But there's many different elements, and that's what I dig about you guys is like that diversity of like of the rock and roll vibe.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the band as well. You always want to keep it interesting. I think it's
Mhm.
easy to just do one thing and release albums real quickly. But yeah, especially in this era where everyone's attention spans are shortened to nothing, I kind of, yeah, it pays to be a bit eclectic sometimes.
So
Do you have like what was your original inspiration? Because you were talking about lyrics too, like like guitar wise and singing wise and guitar sound wise and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's weird. Like, it's hard to pin it down, but the idea with this band was it was a side project actually. Like three or half of the members of Jack Harlon, we were playing before this band. We were playing in like it's like a grungy sort of almost punky um sort of a thing. And then like every now and then we play with these Doom bands. Like there was a bit of a Doom hardcore crossover thing happening in Canberra like 10 years ago. And it was just this wild sound to me. I hadn't heard anything like it before. I was calling it like heavy Black Sabbath or something. So I was like, yeah, I'll do a side project of that and whatever. Like Tame Impala was kind of on the radio a lot of the time and Pond, all these psych bands. So I was like, oh, I'll just make this throw around side project about a cowboy on the side, write some stories. And then that main band we had just sort of broke apart. And then this became the main band, this sort of side project thing. So then there was a real desire to put more into that, more of ourselves into it. So yeah, that's how that all came about, I think. But it's hard to remember now.
and there's a lot more diversity in your recorded albums because you kind of have very chill acoustic tracks and stuff like that, which I've never seen you guys emulate live. Is that when you do come back to playing shows, is that something that you're looking to potentially incorporate, or do you think it's the recorded version of Jack Harlan is a different beast to the live one?
Yeah, we're definitely doing some of the quieter songs now. We've been practicing those at jams, which I think in the past we didn't get round to them a lot because we'd be like, oh, we've got a show in a couple of weeks. Like, let's just keep it all loud and fast and go. But yeah, having a year off, we've had a bit more time to practice stuff. Like maybe not acoustic. Like we might play some of the acoustic stuff with just a crunch tone or something like that. But yeah, there's some quieter parts of the set now. I don't know, maybe we will do a whole set of unplugged sort of style because we've banked up enough songs now. Um, yeah, I think you
And
can
there was
expect that.
Yeah, there was one show. It's one of the rare shows I actually didn't film. I saw Jack Harlow. It was a 420 show at a venue called the Bendigo Hotel, and that night you were playing around with this electronic board. It was like a Nikola Tesla setup or something like that. Was that a one-off just to experiment, or is that something you're still playing with?
Yeah, so that's that's a synth. That's like it's an analog synth God, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Um, but yeah, we were experimenting with that because we wanted just drones in our set. We could jam a bit longer, and then it's a drone, so it's a synth, so you might as well do more of it. And then I think we had it out at Harlan Fest as well. We sort of had it on stage, and we're like, oh, if a mate wants to come up and do some laser sounds on the synth, they can do that. So it probably won't be a mainstay live, um, especially if we get a sampler. I don't know, but that synth is in the next album already. So yeah, tonally, it's there.
And as I mentioned earlier, it's been about a year since your last gig. Like, has it been nice to sort of take a breath and move away, or have you missed the gigging and the energy of the live shows?
Yeah, it's been rough actually, because oh yeah, I didn't explain it earlier, but like you said, we played our last show in like November or December or something last year, and we planned to have this big year off. We're like, cool, no shows, we'll write. And then in December, Josh, our drummer, was left the band, which surprised me. I mean, we're on good terms. We still hang out and whatnot, but it was a real shock. So that hit me a bit for a few months, and I dove into learning jazz piano and stuff, and wasted a bit of time on that, or maybe not wasted time. And so then we had to audition a new drummer, which took a bunch of long time to get sorted out. So it wasn't quite the nice stroll down the primrose path that we imagined. There was a bit of a moment there where I thought, oh, do we even come back? It's so in disrepute. I don't have to, I'm getting married in a couple of weeks. So a lot of focus has been on that. But no, we're still together. We've taken a little longer than we thought, but with that new album's rolling, and yeah, we're coming back. Thank
One,
God.
one, one of the things with Josh's drumming, which I really love, he has a jazzy style. Like in parts reminds me of JP Gaster's drumming in Clutch, because JP is really really jazzy drummer, not so much a rock drummer, and it kind of I put Josh sort of in that sort of category. When you're auditioning, were you looking for someone who plays that style, or were you just looking for someone who's got the chops and you get along with?
Yeah, that was pretty much most of it. They've just got to have the chops, and we've got to be able to get along with them. And like, it's cool if they're not familiar with the beat, maybe they could at least cook it and learn it in a few weeks or so. So yeah, because Josh is still a wild drummer. He's been through so many eras of inspiration too. Like he was right into fast Blink-182 pop punk drumming in high school. Then he went through a drum and bass phase, and yeah, he's really, really eclectic. So he was a hard spot to fill. We were like, oh man, is this going to be the death of the band? Like, not even finding another drummer that can keep up. But Braden, who we got, is man, he's like got to be one of the best drummers in Melbourne. He's in so many bands because of that, but just straight up from the first audition, we were like, man, this guy's capable. Um, so yeah, that really put fire in the ignition again.
And am I right? I was saying this is only the second lineup change in the band's history, or have there been more? Because I think Liam joined maybe 30
Yeah,
shows into the band's history.
yeah, I think it is the second. We had Riz on bass in the real early years, and then Liam joined and switched him out. And then yeah, so this is the second one.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was funny. I was looking through the liner notes earlier of Magnetic Ridge, and I came across the band member names, and I was thinking, who's Joe Richardson? And then I had to do a double thing. Oh no, it's JD, not Joe.
Never thought of that. That font. Hey, it's Joe.
I wanted to ask you.
That's going to be his new nickname when I see him next.
Yeah, do it. What were you saying, Skull?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. So, just going back, like, who is your favorite singer, guitar player, lyricist, and the psychedelic elements that you guys incorporate in the band? Did you get those from like going all the way back to the 60s and 70s, or?
Yeah, yeah, so there's a mix of that. Like in early high school, I just love Smashing Pumpkins and like Sonic Youth and just guess all these bands that used fuzz and all these wild noises. So I just love fuzz, I guess, to begin with. And then
Hmm.
through, yeah, I think when I started, I was always a bass player for ages. All through high school, I was a bass player. I didn't start playing guitar till, I don't know, I was like 20 or 21. And when I learned, I was like, oh, I'll just go back to the start of like the 50s and then I'll learn that. And then I'll learn the 60s and I'll learn that. And I got to like the 60s and just submerged myself with Hendrix and I don't know, all the best bands of the 60s. Even in the
Hmm.
50s, like the Animals and stuff, I loved that. So that all started mixing in this lo-fi sort of vibe with, like, I mean, I guess Smashing
Right
Pumpkins
here,
have
me
got
right
some.
here.
Yeah, there he is. Looking good. I used to have a t-shirt with that similar decal on it.
But
But yeah,
so
so
like vocal wise, or like who's like your favorite singer, and guitar player, that kind of thing.
oh yeah. I don't know if I have favorite. Well, I just love Billy Corgan, man. Billy Corgan's guitar playing Pumpkins, like he's just an unreal player. He's got unreal tone. He plays like real hard and fast. That's why I play a Strat because as a kid I was
Hmm.
like, I just want to get a fuzzed out Strat.
Well, that's really cool because a lot of those guys, especially like the grunge movement, the early '90s movement, they were taking all their creative, inspiration. The creative pool was all going back to the '70s and
Yeah.
going through like, you know, modern meat grinder or whatever. So yeah, I mean that those elements are still in all of that music.
Yeah.
And also they're from Seattle and Hendrix is from Seattle, so
Yeah, there's
yeah,
another link there. Hey.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's still the same thing. I think that's happening a bit now, just because you can access so much music. There's a bit of a meat grinder phenomenon going on. Probably a lot of meat grinding, seeing what people
Hmm.
are wearing these days. But um, yeah, I know singers though. I'm trying to think of singers that I really like. Like I always like. You could tell in our recordings, I liked like Planet Caravan by Black Sabbath, like rotary vocals, and he's singing through an organ amp in that, and I just loved that sound. So I stole that from
Hmm.
Black Sabbath. And
Maybe
then
that maybe that's what I'm hearing. I don't I
yeah,
don't I don't know it, but that's what I'm hearing. That's awesome.
and then the Cramps as well. Like I stole their slapback thing. Uh, what do you call it? Like slapback with a bit of gain on the mic. I loved that
Hmm.
sound. And then like maybe even some Jeff Buckley too. I don't do it as much now, but falsettos. I used to do a bit more falsettos at the start of the band, but couldn't
Interesting.
rip him off.
So if you
Yeah.
want to tell the people out there, because Steve was telling me that, Jack Harlan is Jack Harlan persona. So is
Yeah.
he? Is that you? Is Tim Jack Harlan, or is Jack? Because when I get on, a lot of people don't realize this unless you've actually been on stage. Now everybody's different, but like when I get on stage, something takes me over. There's another person, there's another persona, just like with Ozzy and Dio and all these other cats. So is Jack Harlan you know, like Alice Cooper? Is it like a persona? Is he you, or is it what?
Yeah, well, it's a funny thing. Like I guess he's sort of my Jack Harlan would be my creative lens. Like is one of a self of mine, I guess you could say. But the way it turned out is
Alter
that
ego. That was I was trying to think of
yeah,
alter
that's
ego.
it. But it was strange how it turned out. Like I didn't intend to see it that way or anything. Like at the start, like I said, it was just a side project and like me not knowing what I was doing, I thought, oh, I'll do this wild theatrical side to the band and I'll be this character that's yelling at people on stage and things. And I don't know, you play a couple shows and you go, well, you can't maintain that. That would just be the worst thing ever, and people don't know who you are. So I ditched that idea. I was like, it'll just be a band. He's a character in the thing in the show. But the trope of me still being called Jacket shows stayed And that just, yeah, that's traveled along. And it's just funny, like culturally where we've gone and stuff. Now people are all weird about, they call me Jack or they call me Tim, and they worry that they call me the wrong name and they're dead naming me or something. I'm just like, I don't care, man. I'm all of it. But yeah, I do adopt I'm a different kind of persona on stage a lot of the time. Like you say, Skull, I would sort of see that it's like Jack is me on stage. But yeah, it wasn't intended to be that from the start.
And of course,
You did.
part of that persona, and it may be off stage as well as your signature hat. Like, was that from day one, or did you sort of get it and go, oh,
Yeah.
hang out with that?
The idea to be wearing a cowboy hat all the time was from day one because I just thought that would make the music sound heavier as well. Like, didn't see people in cowboy hats playing real heavy music. So at the start, our first show, it was like a $2 shop cowboy hat. Just looked like shit. And then I graduated to this floppy hat that just got belted over the years. So the hat I've been wearing for the last year or two, that's the third edition to the hat thing. But I've upgraded again because, as I said, it's my wedding. So with wedding comes an excuse to buy nice suits and hats. So I got this badass custom made thing that I'll be wearing next year. So yeah, there's a motif for the band as well. Cowboy hats.
That's cool. So, I guess you did mention that you guys are working on a new album.
Yeah. Yeah, long time coming. It's been a while since we've recorded an album actually, because our last one came out last year, but I was sitting on that for a year before that as well. So it's
Oh,
actually
okay. I
been,
see. Hmm.
yeah, it's been ages. But yeah, new album, it's not covers or anything. It's like the next installment of Jack Harlon. Where all the members are all writing it together a lot more this time around. In the past, it's been predominantly just me, and then we learn it and play it live, which, like you said, Steve, sometimes can sound real different on recordings to live. But this one's a bit more in the middle. So we're demoing it all out, and then we're going to go into the studio and record it all, which is why it's taken a bit more time. But yeah, looking forward to that.
I was
And
gonna
you,
just well, just real quick, one thing before I forget, because you're talking about playing live. I mean, is there a possibility you could ever make it over here to the Maryland Doom Fest or to the Maryland Death Fest?
Oh
Well,
man, I'd love
I'll leave
to.
that up to Steve. I know he has all the connections.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we got to do the States, man. We've been trying to do it for ages. Then all this life shit keeps getting in the way. So, yeah, I reckon that's on the cards for the next couple of years. Because what, I'll be 35 next year. Got the wedding out of the way. Got a bit
Hmm.
more extra money. Maybe we can do it. So, yeah, I'm down for that. Want to do Europe as well at some point.
and I think at the moment, some of your Doom peers in the Australian scene, we've got Mammoth's Throne in Japan, we've got Loose Fungus in Europe. Khan were out there earlier this year, I think, and they're playing Desert Fest in Berlin next year. Does that sort of motivate you to want to, is there a bit of FOMO going on there?
Yeah, for sure. We've had FOMO with that for years, but it does inspire me. I do like that because in my 20s I thought like, oh, you got to be really big before you go over to Europe or America or whatever. And I've since learned that no, no one's big when you first go over. You just got to invest and go.
Hmm.
So like seeing, Mammon's Throne and stuff doing it, just our counterparts. You're like, okay, yeah, I could do that. I don't have to wait for anything. So yeah, I'll
And
save some money.
obviously, the style of your music isn't, you know, Taylor Swift type stuff
Nah.
for the mainstream. But your first album, Hymns, came out, and there's a website. I assume you're familiar with Doom charts, and so the
Yeah,
first one came out. It came out at number 62. So, probably with limited airplay or promotion, you hit the scene. and then your second album came number 11. So obviously, those who listen to Doom, have caught on to you. So I think that's Magnetic Ridge was on Blues Funeral. Are you looking for the next album with another either Blues Funeral or another label just to try and get more of that push?
Yeah, well, I wasn't gonna. Like at the start of this year, I was like, I'm just gonna strip everything and go back to bare bones just because I don't know, that's what I wanted to do. Just keep things a bit more slow. But yeah, so I was gonna self-release again, but I don't know. I think I went to the post office like twice this year and I was like, nah, I don't want to post records as much. So maybe I will get back involved with the label. And yeah, I mean the ones I've worked with in the past seem to be pretty keen, so might as well get your records out there. Yeah.
And have you found, because I'm not familiar with Spotify, or whether you check your statistics and all that, the kind of reporting you get out of there. Outside of like say Melbourne or the Australian scene, are there any sort of hotspots into for the band?
Yeah, I haven't looked at that stuff for a while, but I think Sweden really dig us. Maybe because we play with Greenleaf a bit or something. There's an association there. Like at the start, Greece really looked after us. Like Greek radios would play us a lot. But yeah, hotspots. I think Sweden is the only one that comes to mind. Maybe somewhere else in Europe, but yeah.
And with the first two albums, you used Adam Burke for the artwork. How did you come across Adam's work, and would he be in the mix for the artwork, or are you looking to maybe try something different?
Yeah, he'd be in the mix. Liam, our bass player, sent me through an Adam Burke work that he's looking to license recently and said, oh, we could go with this again, do another theme. Because that could be a thing. Like we went with the different artist for Hail to the Underground, I think, because that was like covers and reinterpretations. So I'm thinking, yeah, we could do Adam Burke or a painted style for our true albums. But that actually came about, back in like 2015 or something. We were at this Bush door for a Bush rave. And there was one of Liam's friends was from a band called Albrus, which were from Melbourne years ago. And I didn't know anything about releasing records, and he was just telling us all about his and showed us the Albrus album. I think there's only one, and Adam Burke had done that artwork, so that just morphed into that. I was like, I gotta get in touch with this painter, and yeah, so that's how that came about.
And you mentioned in terms of the writing process, a little bit different because it's been less of like a one man show, to speak. From a production perspective, are you looking to really change that up as well, or follow a similar path
Like with the recording,
with the recording
the
of the
album.
album? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'd be working with the producer this time when we go in. We haven't picked one yet, instead of it just being me, which would be pretty different. It might be difficult for me to relinquish a bit of control there, but I think it's good for me doing that. I did overthink a lot of the old albums. So the timing's right for that. It's good for me to not be writing the whole thing and let the other band members write as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I take a lot of time though, and I like to do heaps of takes and just loop it. So I might have to shave things off to save some cash, but it should be good.
And you have, as I mentioned a few times, you've taken about a year off. I think you've got a few shows announced now coming up. Are you looking to go back to like your old ways in terms of playing like 12, 15 shows a year, or do you think you want to pull it back a bit more?
Yeah, I still want to pull it back just because I want to mainly create a lot of art rather than just tour or play shows all the time. I still have a lot of creative ideas that I want to do. So like maybe two tours a year or so, just as a bit of a staple there, and the rest just creation. Because like I want to do a whole studio recording video sort of a thing for YouTube next year. I think that'd be cool. Maybe even more valuable than touring in this age to get a high quality video of a performance on the internet.
Well, we've got a few of those with Jack Harlon on the Riff crew, by the way, if you weren't aware.
Yeah, yeah.
Because actually, you guys are one of the most watched bands on our channel.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
collectively across all the shows, yeah, you'd be one of the highest watched.
Oh, cool. Hopefully it's all not just from me, but that's good. That's even more reason to record a studio thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess just in wrapping up, any words in advance of these shows coming up you want to send out to the Jack Harlon fans?
Yeah, well, hell yeah, we're back. That's the first one. You can expect we're using baritone guitars now in the new recordings, so there's some drop A sort of going on there, and our old songs are still back in our standard tuning, so you're gonna see some guitar switching. You'll probably see a lot of mistakes and weird bits that will get tighter over the years, but I'm just happy to be at gigs again and playing and hanging out with all the same faces. So more than anything, I'm keen to see our community again. Yeah, that's all I'd probably say about that.
All right. Well, I have one final thing to say, unless Steve, you have anything to add, or
Oh, no, that's all right. I'll hopefully catch up with you with one of these shows before Christmas.
all right. I have one final thing to say, and that's remember, look to the stars, carry that torch of enlightenment, and strive to be a disciple of rock and roll in the Brotherhood of Orpheus. Peace.
Hell yeah, brother.
Aftermath and supporting underground music.